Hello there, Internet. Today is still, it's still Wednesday. Sorry about that, guys. I'm going to stay in one place, or do my best to try and stay in one place, because I've turned the autofocus off on this stupid camera. It's just killing me, the constant zip, 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 zip. So hopefully I'm in focus right around in this range. But I wanted to talk about my little gadget addiction. We all have our addictions. Some guys like cards, some guys like, Magic the Gathering, video games. I like, for some reason, phones. I have no idea why. Absolutely no idea why. And I think it all started up in Canada when the first the 3G phone came out from Apple. I actually still have the Apple 3G phone. There's a little picture here. Let's get a picture of my little girl when she was just about 1 year old, on our way back from Magic Camp. She's been to Magic Camp with us every year, ever since she was born. So it's fantastic. She likes it. She enjoys it. But I got this phone and I loved it. It was fantastic. However, when iPhone 4, the 4 was released, as what Apple does is they go ahead and update their software every time, and because all the phones are pretty much universal, once you plug it into iTunes, boom, it wants you to update. So I figured I'd go for an update. And when I did that, my phone became unusable. It was slow, it was sluggish, it was ridiculous. And I figured it was like 2.5 years anyway, so I figured it was time for an upgrade. This basically right now, all it does is play videos for my daughter Juno. We're talking like, My Little Pony stuff and Disney movies, things like that. So from there, I decided it was time for an upgrade. And from there, I went to the Sony Xperia, the X10. And it was a fantastic looking phone. It was awesome. And it was also my first Android phone. And I learned very early on the advantages of having an Android phone as opposed to having an iPhone. Really quickly right now, there's nothing wrong with iPhones. iPhones, they are probably the simplest and easiest phones to use as far as user interface, universal experience, etc., etc. Apple has been very good at designing the interface and the usability of the phone. However, I wasn't aware that I needed expanding until I got my first Android. And essentially, the Android is open source, meaning manufacturers can go ahead and take it and develop their own applications for it or their own interfaces and such. And that open sourceness has, let me turn this down. That open sourceness of the product, of the Android operating system, has also been its downfall. The fragmentation is just ridiculous. And this is one reason why we also don't develop our illusionist applications for the Android market. There's just so many types of phones out there, so many versions of software, so many interfaces, updates, different screen resolutions, screen sizes. It's almost impossible for a small developer like ourselves to take into account all of that and still not go broke doing it and maintain a quality product. That's the one reason why we haven't really successfully developed anything for the Android market. Was just like our Invisible Deck app. When we had it, it looked fantastic, but for every five that were sold, we had problems with 3. They weren't opening, they would force to close, everything was slow, and that was just because the fragmentation of the market. And my X10 was beautiful, like 8 megapixel camera. It was awesome, took HD videos, but the problem was it kept rebooting on me. It was ridiculous. So I sent it in, they repaired it, sent it back. Same problem. It would just turn off, reboot, freeze for some unknown reason. Sent it again, and at that point I had an unlocked phone. It was unlocked. So the second time I sent it out, they sent it back. They sent me a new one, and it was locked. So I really couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't unlock it to use my new my existing card, because I was with one company that I didn't really want to break out of my contract for. So I basically bought the phone outright, unlocked it. And of course, now I tried to unlock it. I can't do it with a new phone anymore because it's just too new. So what I did was, for my birthday, I went out and I got the TELUS. TELUS is in Canada. The Samsung Galaxy Fascinate. If I'm not mistaken, in the States it's called the Vibrant. And this was my first real. I loved this phone. This is beautiful. And it got updated to Android 2.3, I think, which was Gingerbread. And again, this is where I learned the limitations of something being open source and allowing manufacturers to go ahead and add interfaces and such onto it. Basically, what Samsung had did with these branded phones was they've gone ahead and they created a new opening screen. I'll show it to you in a second. They basically created like an interface that laid on top of Android. They enhanced things. They made things better. Their messaging application, I feel, was made much better. Their way they grouped their friends, your contacts with Facebook and that, made much better in my opinion as well. But those limitations mean that every time there's a new operating system update, unlike Apple, you don't get it right away. You have to wait for the manufacturer to go ahead, update it, if they're going to update it at all. And as a result, what happens is, sometimes your phone might not even be like more than a year old, but the manufacturer might say, well, you know what, we've got a year's worth of use out of this thing. We're going to stop updating it. We're going to stop putting resources towards it. And as a result, you've got a really good phone that nobody's going to update only because the manufacturer wants to keep moving forward. They don't want to dwell on the past. And because Android's been out for maybe like 3 or 4 years now, there is a shit ton of phones out there. And if they were going to go ahead and devote all the resources to maintaining and updating those phones, it would just be ridiculous. And I kind of understand the reason for it now. And that's the reason the fragmentation is kind of killing Android a little bit as well, because people who have perfectly good phones just can't get new versions of the operating system. They can't get new updates, things like that. And it's sad. It's sad. It's basically sad. Apple basically has put a lot of thought into making sure that their phones continually move forward as they move forward, whereas this isn't Android's fault. I don't think they foresaw it initially. But Android phones, a lot of people are getting left on the wayside because of that. And it was because of that inability to update this phone that I went ahead and got a Google Nexus S. Let's take it out of the case here just so we can compare the two. Oh, it is out of the case. Ha! Okay. And we've got the Fascinate here, the Nexus S here. And both of these phones are on their lock screens right now. And you can already tell. These are both the same version of the operating system. Let's just actually go ahead and make sure of that. Let's go ahead and make sure. We'll go into Settings, About Phone. Go over here. We'll go Home, Settings, About Phone. See, this one's 233. This one's 236. So even then, like it's going to be a long time before this one gets updated. But let's go back to the lock screens, because that's where the most telling differences are. And like you can tell, like the difference of the lock screens. Like the Android, I can't get too much closer, but the stock Android system here, its lock screen's fairly simple. Whereas this one, like you swipe, the whole screen moves off to one side. Whereas here, it's just like you get a little bar here and a bar over here. Now, the one thing that I liked about the Nexus S was because it's a bare bones Nexus phone, Google phone. It's not locked to a particular carrier. There's no, and as a result of it not being locked to a carrier, there is no additional user interfaces built on top of that. This is a bare bones Google phone, and it's fantastic. I liked it. It's a great little phone. The version of the operating system and the hardware at its time, it's just a little on the clunky side. It's just not quite speedy as I would like it, but it has fared me well. Like both of these phones are fantastic. I like them. But then obviously technology advances. I went out and I got this bad boy. This is the Android Nexus, the ice cream sandwich version. Now I'll put these phones together. You can kind of, whoa, dang it. Let's just go ahead and unlock all these things. This is ridiculous. So let's go ahead and unlock. And unlock. Go to the home screen, to the home screen, to the home screen. And I'll put the two Nexus phones together. The top one here, Nexus S, and this is just the Nexus. And here's the Galaxy S Fascinate. And as you can see, obviously one is a hell of a lot larger than the other. The viewings, there we go. It's like you can, that's actually a good way to do it. So as you can tell, like the one in the middle is a hell of a lot bigger, but at the same time, it's dual core processor, 16 gigs of RAM. It's got the near field communication, which means like all I have to do if I wanted to transfer my contacts, which I did, was just put the two phones together, and the near field communication chip just zapped everything back and forth. It was fantastic. That's going to be used for Google Wallet, meaning I think there's the MasterCard PayPass is what you guys have in the States. We have it in Canada as well. But only in the States is it actually, you attach it to your phone. Coming to Canada soon, you will be able to attach it to your phone. Just tap it, pay, you're good to go. And this is the crux of my gadget problem. And then at the same time, I got this. And this I got literally almost for free. Let's go ahead and open this up. This is my Acer Iconia tablet running, honeycomb, I think it is. And this I really, oh, yeah, it's a little on the bright side here. Well, here, there we go. Get the angle there. This I really like. This is basically it's an answer to the iPad. It's not as sleek and defined as the iPad, but it does what I want it to do. I can read magazines and stuff like on here, watch video full screen. My email is so much easier to type in that on a larger screen than it is a much tinier screen. And it's a good tablet. It's expandable. I've got like the SD card up here. It's got a nice decent front camera, back camera. I've used it for Skype for a two-way video conference. I've done pretty much everything you can do on an iPad tablet. You can be done on this. Really, the only difference between really in my eyes, the only difference between Apple and Android, it's the user base. iPads and like the Apple products are generally, like as far as the iPhones and the iPads, they're all tied up nice and neatly. You don't really need to wander too far out of what Apple offers. Generally, these guys don't want to experiment that often. They're happy with what they get. Whereas me, like on my Android phone, if I'm unhappy with the browser, I can go ahead and install another browser. You can't really get that with the i products. Apple has locked down all of their core apps, meaning you can't develop another application that mimics what Apple already does. And so, for instance, like if I don't like my messaging program, my text messaging program, I can go ahead and install 12 other text messaging programs. I can install skins. I can install different themes, things like that. You can't really do that with the Apple products because they've locked the user experience down so much. That's a good thing for Apple because everything looks universal across the board. You're not going to have any issues with people looking at something that's an Apple product and them not knowing what it is or how to use it because the whole experience across the board is similar. Whereas with the Android system, that kind of works against you as well because the openness of it is its downfall as well as its advantage. And it's just really, like some products might not look similar, but with the release of Ice Cream Sandwich, Google is locking down how the fragmented the market is. They're saying this is what you're allowed to do, this is what you're not allowed to do, this is what we want. If you want to use the Google name, you have to follow these guidelines. Not from a draconian point of view, but enough people have complained saying like, look, like why doesn't this phone look like this phone and work like this phone and act like this phone? Like it's just the sheer scope of all of the variations out there are just ridiculous. And that's Google's fault. That's the manufacturer's fault. But at the same time, this is my phone. I can put whatever on it that I want to without having to jailbreak it, without having to go behind and void my warranty by putting an unauthorized operating system on there. This is my phone. I can do what I want. I can put whatever I want on it. I have access to the file system. I can do anything I want to this phone that I want to because it's my phone. That's what I like about this line of phones. I'm a tinkerer by nature, and I like to play with things. And this is like one of the things that I like to play with. Is like my technology. I have bricked my phones more than once. I've had to send them off for repair, and gracefully Samsung's replaced them for me without too much screwing around. I've since learned to do it properly. But at least even with the Android phones, you can install different versions of the operating system. Like when I say different versions, I don't mean version 2, version 3. I mean like completely different like operating systems based on Android, but have different capabilities. There's one out now called Cyanogen Mod. I think that's what it's called, but it's fantastic. It's like these guys are what push the market forward. This is what causes technology to advance in leaps and bounds. Apple's doing a good job, but I feel if Android continues on this path, they're going to keep moving forward and eventually overtake. I think actually Android phones even are more. There's being activated than the Apple line of products, but that's like phones in general, not the actual. You know what? Scratch what I just said. Let's just stay on topic. But I feel the Android system is it's really like BlackBerry's almost dead. This is ridiculous. It's Apple and Android right now. Android is for the guys that want to own their product. Apple is for the guys that are happy with the design and don't really want to tinker, just want to use the phone and all the apps that you can do with it. It's apples oranges, guys. It's really like do you like blue? Do you like red? No phone I feel is better than the other, but having this many though, that's an issue. Like I've really got to get rid of some. I'm not mailing any away. I'm not giving any away. If you want to buy one, let me know. If it's a reasonable price, I might do it, but you never know. And on that note, that's my gadget addiction. I will talk to you later, guys. Have a good day.